Hi everyone, I am Dr. Sachin Sabharwal from MBA Department, Technia Institute of Advanced Studies. I am going to deliver a special lecture on demand, which is a part of consumer behavior. It comes under managerial economics, which helps us to know what will be the behavior pattern of the consumer, provided various things, which may be the price of the commodity, which may be the period at which he is demanding the commodity, as well as the current taste and preferences and other X factors. Demand. Demand is a relation showing the quantities of a commodity that the consumer is willing and able to buy at various prices per period, other things being constant. When we are talking about other things is the things that the consumer might get affected during the period of purchase, which may be the taste and preferences currently going on, which may be the prices of other commodities that may be in relation to that commodity, or other things that we will talk about later. Now we will talk about the types of demand. First of all is the individual demand. Individual demand implies the quantity of a commodity and individual is able and is willing to purchase at a particular price during a specified time period, given his or her money income, his or her taste, and the prices of other commodities such as substitutes, complementary products, is referred to as individual demand for that commodity. When we are talking about individual demand, it varies from person to person according to the situation, the given situation, as well as his mindset. When we combine this demand of all the individuals available in a market, then it is termed as market demand. In other words, market demand is the total quantity which all the consumers of the commodity are willing and able to purchase at a given price per time unit, given the money income, their taste, and prices of other commodities that we have talked about, is referred to as the market demand for the commodity. We calculate the market demand to judge what will be the demand for a product in the future time period, so that all the other decisions regarding the marketing, the production, the finance, etc. required for that commodity can be ascertained. Now the demand for firm's product. The quantity of a firm's product that can be sold at a given price over time is known as the demand for the firm's product. Now the demand for industry product. The sum of demand for the products of all the firms in the industry is referred to as the market demand or industry demand for that product. For example, if we are going to ascertain the demand for example, shoes, then we are going to ascertain the demand for that industry by combining the individual demand for all the firms that are dealing with that particular product. Then the next type is autonomous demand. Autonomous demand or direct demand for a product is one that arises on its own of a natural desire to consume or possess of a commodity. This type of demand is independent of the demand for other commodities. The next type is derived demand. It is the demand for a commodity which arises from the demand for other commodities called parent's product. It is called derived demand because the demand is not direct, it is derived from the demand for another commodity. For example, if we have to construct a building, then we require bricks, cement, and the demand for bricks and cement is derived demand from the demand for that particular building. Demand for land, fertilizers, and agricultural tools, and the raw material, for example, for building, then it is known as the derived demand because it is due to the demand for that particular commodity in which it has to be used. Next is demand for durable goods. Durable goods are those goods which the total utility or usefulness is not exhaustible in the short run use. It will be used for over a long period of time. For example, the furniture in your house is a durable product, and the demand for these goods, which will not be of a regular nature, it will happen only after a particular time period, as and when the good is to be replaced. Such goods can be used repeatedly over a period of time and can be named as an asset in the accounting terminology. The next is the demand for non-durable goods. The demand for non-durable goods depends largely on the current prices, the consumer's income, and the current fashion. It also subject to frequent changes because these goods can be used once only or for a smaller period of time. As and when the requirement is over, then we have to repurchase that commodity. Then according to the time period, another type is short-term demand. Short-term demand refers to the goods over a short period of time. Short period may vary from few hours to few months, and it may also be for few years also. And the long-term demand is a demand refers to the demand which exists over a long period of time. When we are talking about long-term and short-term, in long-term demand, we generally demand the goods that are durable in nature, that will go on for a longer period of time. And we have to decide on various issues before demanding that product. We have to move into the market and search for various options because this type of demand requires a huge amount to be invested and have a longer and major impact on the product that we are demanded. We will talk about the fundamental law of demand. When we are talking about a law in economics, it is totally based on the scientific laws. For example, it will be depending upon various experiments that have been in the past done on the various issues, and it will work only under certain circumstances. Whenever the circumstances change, the law will not work. Accordingly, the law of demand shows the relationship between price and quantity demanded. It is an economic law that the consumer, other things being constant, when we are talking about other things, means the other issues apart from the price of the commodity will remain constant. Then the price of the commodity have a negative impact on the quantity demanded for a commodity. That is, when the price of the commodity rises, the quantity demanded will fall, and vice versa. Means if the consumer is willing to buy, for example, at 4 rupees, 5 units of a commodity, then if the price goes up to 5 rupees, then he will have lesser amount to be spent on that commodity, so the quantity demanded will go down. But this law will work only when other things will remain constant. For example, if the taste and preferences of the consumer changes, then he may not demand that quantity of the commodity which he is willing to purchase in the past. It may change, and accordingly, when the income of the consumer changes, then also the quantity demanded will change. That's why we'll make all the other factors constant so that the law can work easily. Then the exceptions to this law is, first in the category is Giffen goods. Giffen goods are the goods which people paradoxically consume more of as the price rises, and it violates the law of demand. These are the special kind of inferior goods which will be purchased by the persons who have lesser amount to be spent on the basic necessities. They will only purchase these commodities when the price will increase, and when the price increases, then they will purchase more, and when the price goes down, they can spare an amount from this spending to better quality goods. The example for the Giffen goods is during the Irish potato famine of the 19th century, potatoes were considered as a Giffen good, that is of inferior quality good. Potatoes were the largest staple in the Irish diet, so as the price rose, it had a large impact on income. People responded by cutting out on luxury goods such as meat and vegetables and instead bought more potatoes, because it will be the more, it will consider to be the major ingredient in their total diet. Therefore, as the price of the potatoes increased, so did the demand. In this case, the law of demand will not work, as the people will consider the total amount they have in their pocket to be spent on either the necessities, that is the potato in this case, or on luxury goods. So in this case, they will purchase more and more on potato rather than on luxury goods. Therefore, even if the price of the potato is increasing due to this famine, they are spending more and more on this commodity rather than on other that will be considered as secondary in their purchase list. Next is the Veblen effect. It is related to conspicuous consumption and status seeing products. These are the products that people purchase for showing it off in the society, and in this case they will purchase only when it will provide them status symbol. That is, they want to be showing different in the society in comparison to other people. So they will purchase these types of goods only when its price is very high. It will not be purchased, it cannot be purchased by other people, as their pocket will not allow that commodity. For example, the luxury car, wristwatch, luxury mobile phones, they can be used as a status symbol in the society. So the rule goes on like, the more expensive these commodities become, the higher their value as a status symbol, and hence the greater the demand for them. The amount demanded of these commodities with an increase in their price and decrease with a decrease in their price. For example, in the current scenario, iPhone in the mobile segment is considered as a luxury mobile phone, whereas other mobile phones are also available with the almost same features, but people are more ready to show off their mobile phone, as and when Apple 7 or 8 is to be introduced in the market, they are going to rush the showrooms so that they can purchase it and become the owner in the very beginning, so that they can show it off that others are not able to purchase that particular product at that particular high price. Now the next exception is prediction. Whenever the people predict that the quantity of the particular commodity will go on decreasing in the near future, they will get the stock of it and store it in their houses or in the shops. For example, a rumor regarding the shortage of salt in Delhi as well as in Chandigarh recently make the people to purchase more and more of that salt packets and store it in their houses, even if they are not going to use it in the near future, as the quantity of salt is very less to be consumed in our daily life. Then the next exception is expectation of change in the price of the commodity. For example, in gold, when there is expectation that the price of gold will go on in the near future, the people will spend as an investment in that particular commodity and store it so that in the future they can sell it off at higher prices and get a return. This law is also applicable in share market. In share market, as and when people are expecting demand for the particular share of stock is going to rise due to the profitability, increase in profitability of the commodity company, as well as in increase in the demand for shares of that commodity or the company, then the people will buy more and more shares even if the price of that shares increases. Then our next topic is demand schedule. Demand schedule is a table that shows the relationship between the price of the commodity and the quantity demanded. That is, it is a tabular format. On one hand, we show the various prices of the commodity, and other side, we show the quantity demanded by individual. It shows the relationship that we have talked about, that is law of demand, that is what will be the change in the price What will be the change in the quantity demanded? Due to change in the price of the commodity. This demand schedule can be converted from an individual demand schedule to market demand. In market demand schedule, we will sum up the individual demands for that particular commodity by other consumers and sum it up, and it is known as market demand schedule. It will help us in determining the forecasting of the demand for that particular product at a particular price, so that the sellers can stock the commodity according to the demand at that particular price. The next one is the demand curve. Whenever we make or draw the graphical presentation of the schedule, whether it is individual demand schedule or market demand schedule, it is known as demand curve. In other words, demand curve is a graph showing the relationship between the price of a good and the quantity demanded. On x-axis, we show the quantity demanded, and on y-axis, we denote the change in the prices. The demand curve graphically help the user to judge whether there is negative relationship or positive relationship between the price and the quantity demanded, as well as the other factors that will influence the quantity demanded, and it can be presented on the y-axis. The next topic is factors influencing demand. The various factors that influences the demand, whether it is individual or market demand, can be presented. First one is price of the good or service, that is on which the law of demand is based. In general, there is a negative relationship between the price of the commodity and the quantity demanded. That is, when the price increases, quantity demanded falls, and when the price falls, quantity demanded increases for a normal good. Next one is income of the consumer. It directly influences the quantity the consumer is willing and able to buy. In general, for a normal good, when the income of the consumer increases, the quantity demanded will also increase. On the graph, it shows that the curve will move upwards from left to right. Next one is the price of related goods. Related goods can be termed under two categories. First one is the substitute good. Substitute good is the good that can be used in place of other with almost equal ease. For example, tea and coffee, Pepsi and Coca-Cola. Whereas other category is complementary products. Complementary products are the products that cannot be used without one another. For example, car and petrol, pen and ink. So when the price of substitute good increases, the demand of the current commodity will also increase. Whereas when the price of complementary goods increases, the quantity of the current good will fall down. Next in the category is taste pattern of the consumer. It can be divided into positive taste or negative taste. Whenever a consumer developed a positive taste for a commodity, then it will have a positive impact on the quantity demanded. And if it developed a negative taste, whatever the price will be, the demand for that commodity will fall down. The next in the line is expected future price of the product. Whenever a consumer have expectation that the price of the commodity will rise in the future, then he will purchase more and more quantity for stocking so that it can be used in future when the price will go up. Whereas if there is a future expectation that the price of the particular product is going to fall down in the near future, then he will abandon or delay his current purchase so that he can be able to purchase it when the price will fall down. And the next in the line is number of consumers in market. Whenever the number of consumers that the commodity can be used by increases, automatically the demand for the commodity will increase. It will not have any individual effect, it have a market demand effect. So it is a factor used in determining the market demand of the commodity, not individual. Next topic is supply. In this case, we are dealing with the producer, not towards the consumer. This theory is based on the producer theory. In this, supply of a good refers to the various quantities of the good which a seller is willing and able to sell at a different prices in a given market at a particular point of time. So it shows the various quantities offered for sale by a producer or a seller to the consumers at various prices, as the main objective of the producer or seller is to get more and more money. So they are willing to sell more and more when the price rises. So supply increases only when the price of the commodity also increases. Accordingly, the law of supply is also based on certain conditions. It states that other things being equal, the quantity supplied of a good rises when the price of the good rises. That is, when the price of good falls from 25 to 10, the quantity supplied falls from say 30 to 15. So there is positive relationship between the price of the commodity and the quantity supplied. The various factors that will influence the supply of the commodity are price of good or service, input prices, prices of goods related in production, technological advances, expected future price of the product, number of firms producing product. In the first case, when the price of good or service rises, then the supply will also rise and it will provide more money to the producer or the seller. The other things is input prices. As and when the input prices of the commodity increases, it will lowers the profit margin of the producer or the seller. So he will sell more when the input prices will fall down and his profit margin will increase. As and when the profit margin decreases due to increase in the input prices, the supply will go down. Next is the prices of goods related in production. So the auxiliary services, additional services, add-on services required for production of the commodity or the delivery of the commodity, for example, transportation, warehouses, insurance. If the prices of these related goods or services also increases, then it will also have a negative impact on the profit margin. So when the prices of the goods related in production increases, the quantity supplied will go down and vice versa. Then the technological advances. When the technological advances are there, so the producer can produce more with the same inputs. That is, the cost will remain same, whereas the quantity supplied or quantity produced as well as supplied will increase automatically, as the per unit cost will go down and the profit margin will go up, thereby motivating the producer or seller to sell more. Then next is expected future price of the product. If there is expectation that the price of the commodity will go up in the near future, then the supplier will curtail the current supply of the product, as he can be able to get more in future with the same supply. So if there is expectation that price of the product is going to rise in the future, then the quantity demanded will go down. And if there is expectation that the price of the commodity will go down in the future, then he will do stock clearance. That is, selling more and more even at lower price or even at losses, so that the next lot can be used for getting more and more profits. The next is number of firms producing product. It is also the part of market supply. When the number of firms producing the same product increases, then the total supply for the product increases. For example, in the case of mobile phones, when new producers are coming into the market, then the new range, excess range of the product is being available. So the supply of that particular product increases, which will help in getting the product at a lower price due to high competition. Next is the supply function. It is the relationship between the price of the commodity and the quantities that are being delivered to the consumer for purchase. So supply function is the function related to the price of the commodity, the quantity, and the other variables that are held constant. So it shows what will be the effect of change in the factor or factors on the supply of the commodity. The positive sign indicates direct relationship, that is, that particular factor have a positive impact on the supply of the commodity. For example, the price. It helps in determining what is the relationship between price and quantity supplied. So positive sign indicates that as the price increases, the quantity supplied also increases. That is, there is direct relationship between the price and the quantity supplied. And when we are determining whether there is negative sign, then it shows the negative relationship between the particular factor as well as on the quantity supplied. For example, when the price of the commodity, price of auxiliary services increases, the quantity supplied decreases because the profit margin goes down, thereby motivating the supplier to reduce the supply. That is, there is negative relationship between that particular factor and the particular supply of the commodity. And accordingly, when we present this various quantity supplied at various prices, then it is known as supply schedule. In other words, it is a tabular statement that shows the relationship between the price of the commodity, which is shown on the left side of the table, and on the other side is the quantity supplied. It shows whether there is positive relationship between the price and the quantity supplied or negative relationship. Positive relationship can be judged when the price of the commodity is increasing and the quantity supplied is also increases. It determines the positive relationship between the two. And when inverse relationship is developed, that is, the price of the commodity increases and the quantity supplied decreases, then a negative relationship is developed. When we present this schedule data on the curve, that is on x and y axis, then it is known as supply curve. Supply curve is a graph that shows the relationship between the price of the commodity and the quantity supplied. In usual manner, it goes up from left to right, showing the positive relationship between the price of the commodity, that is shown on the y-axis, and the quantity supplied, that is shown on the x-axis. So when the graph goes up from left to right, it shows the positive relationship between that particular factor showing on the y-axis and the other factor, that is the result, that is the quantity supplied. Now we talk about market equilibrium. Equilibrium is known as a situation of rest, or it is a point of rest that will remain static till the situation changes. Equilibrium refers to a situation in which the price has reached the level where the quantity supplied equals quantity demanded. That is, the situation where the consumers are willing to purchase particular commodity in a particular quantity, and the suppliers are also ready to supply at that particular price the same quantity. Then the two curves will intersect. That is the negative demand curve and positive supply curve. At the point of intersection, we consider it as a equilibrium situation. That is, the demand and supply equates each other, and it is the best position that can be used for judgment. The producer will judge how much to supply, and the consumer can judge how much to purchase. Equilibrium, price and quantity can be determined according to this market equilibrium. That is the point of equilibrium. If it is stretched towards left and intersect on y-axis, then we get equilibrium price. And if that equilibrium position can be extended to touch the x-axis, then it is known as the equilibrium quantity. So we can judge what will be the equilibrium price and what will be the equilibrium quantity. At the point of intersection, quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. That is, there is no imbalance. The next situation is, in this situation also, consumers can purchase all they want and producers can sell all they want at, and it is also known as market clearing price. That is, at this price, all the stock with the producer can be supplied in the market and the consumer can purchase all the stock available in the market. So there is no stock piling at this particular situation, which is more important for supplier as well as for the consumer, as the consumer will not go empty handed and the seller will not have any stockpiling situation. If there is any disbalance between equilibrium position, then it is termed as either surplus or shortage. Surplus is a situation when the price is greater than equilibrium price, then quantity supplied will be greater than quantity demanded. So when the price increases, the quantity supplied also increases, but at this increased price, the quantity demanded will goes down. So an imbalance situation occurs. That is, the producer is willing to sell more, but the consumer is not willing to purchase the same amount or the same quantity at that particular price. This situation is known as surplus, which leads to stockpiling. It may also result in future shortage of the quantity because the producer is not willing to produce more due to this stockpiling. In this situation, the suppliers will have to lower down the price to increase sales, thereby moving towards equilibrium. So if they want that the equilibrium should be reached, then they should only reduce the price so that it will equate the quantity demanded, or the situation will become constant at the situation when the equilibrium is to be attained. So supplier have to lower down the price to justify this situation. The next one is shortage. This situation arises when the price is less than equilibrium price and the quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied. That is, more people are willing to purchase more and more supply, more quantity of the commodity at that particular price, as the price is going to reduce. But the producer is not willing to supply at that particular price the same quantity that is being demanded by the consumer. In this situation, a shortage or excess demand arises. In this situation, the suppliers have to raise the price due to many buyers chasing too few goods, thereby moving towards equilibrium. So the result can be attained, that is the equilibrium position can be attained only when the suppliers will increase the price and the consumers will lower down their demand at that particular price, because at higher price they will demand low and the equilibrium can be attained easily.